What is going on, everybody? It's your favorite dating coach, Elliot Scott, and as you can see by the title below, we're going to talk about tactics that will mess with a man's mind and get him to chase. And pretty much anything else you want. If you want him to suck on your toes, if you're into that kind of stuff, he'll suck on your toes, right? I mean, whatever you're into, that's not what this is about. But if you haven't yet, please subscribe. Just click the red button below. I would love you forever, along with the bell notification. Women always ask me, how do I get, or I wish I saw your videos sooner. I wish I saw your videos 4 months ago. It would have helped me. Well, you click the button. You'll get them right when I post them, okay? So, jumping right into this. The first thing I want to talk about, and yes, ladies, trust me, this is very, 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 very true. These two things have to be in place. I can go really into detail if you want, but he must be in some way a low-value man. I'm not saying he has to be like a piece of crap, insecure man, but if he's a super high-value man that is highly sought after, tactics like this won't work. So when I say tactic, I don't have it in here, but a lot of women will use sex as a bargaining chip, for example. And again, that's not a mind F tactic to use, but it's a good analogy where a lot of women will try to, use sex and make the guy work and, he has to invest so much in me and things like that. But that's not going to work with a high value man for several reasons. Number one, if sex is the value proposition, he could get it from somebody else, number one. Number two, you're not the only one who offers that. And a lot of women he's highly sought after because if he is a high value man who actually does want a relationship, as you all know, that's pretty hard to find because either men are pieces of crap or they don't want a relationship. So when this guy is a 10, unfortunately, he has his pick of the litter. Why is that? Because women want relationships. They want long-term. They want longevity. And if this guy is offering that and he's high value, the competition is more, it's higher on your end than it is his, because how many high value men out there actually want relationships instead of playing in the field, right? So that's one reason why it doesn't work. Another reason is it tends to work more for low value men because they don't have this game that the high value man has. They don't have such a tight game. They don't have the resources, the looks maybe comparable to the high value man. So he becomes more of the offerer. Like, again, men really like sex. Men are more about quantity. He's obviously going to offer himself to you. And if a woman plays games with the guy, because this guy's game might not be as tight, he's going to seek more validation, more approval. You're more likely to seek or fill a void. You might be, touching on his insecurities. It's just more likely to work with a lower value man. The lower, the better. Now, I'm not saying you should do that. I'm not saying to play with the guy's head. Even when it comes to mind games, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of it. I'm just making the video. But the lower, the more likely it is to work. And of course, secondly here, there has to be some type of interest. If he is not interested to begin with, I don't care how great you are, he's just not going to pursue. So the analogy I always use here is, let's say, and no offense to my tennis fans, I just don't really care for tennis, but if you're trying to sell me a tennis racket that will make me the best player of all time, I mean, I might do that. But you get what I'm saying. If you're trying to sell me a tennis racket that will improve my game dramatically, for a very, very cheap price, that would be stupid not to take. I still probably will not take it because I give two shits about being good at tennis. I just don't care. I don't play tennis, right? So that's the same thing here. No matter how good something might be, if the guy is not interested, he just won't invest his resources into it. So you have to have interest or attraction, I guess you could say, and it has to be a certain type of guy. It just doesn't work on anybody. Now, why is this the case? I pretty much just explained it because mind games work best if there is something to lose. For example, if he is a low-value man, it is easier to mess with his mind as he wants validation, approval. He might be insecure, he wants sex, and he feels very close to getting it if you're playing the game correctly. It's like dangling the carrot in front of him. Secondly, he must also like you to some extent, because if he doesn't, what's keeping him from going to someone else? Okay, again, that goes back to what I said here with attraction and interest. There has to be something again, this guy must be is it misogynistic? No, it's not the word. Masochist, where he must love this pain. Otherwise, why is he dealing with it? Why is he dealing with you? He could just move on and talk to somebody else. Okay, so these two concepts are very, very, very important to understand, and they have to be there, ladies. Secondly, okay, in terms of him being interested, there is a strong correlation between the intensity that you have to go with the guy and the amount of traction you have. So I said this in other videos, but I want to touch it on here because I think it's important. If you're going to make a guy jump through a bunch of loops, like intensity, but the attraction isn't strong, it's called a cost, right? That becomes a liability. There's no reason for me to jump through all these loops if I do not have that strong of attraction for you. So if you're going too easy on the loops, you're going to be taken for granted. This is easy. I have her, type of thing. If you're too strong, then you're just playing games and the guy's just not going to deal with this. So it's basically based on attraction. The stronger his attraction is for you, the more you can make him do, especially if you do it correctly and he feels like he's very close to getting it. So keep that in mind, ladies. It is based on your intensity, or what you make the guy do, jump through loops, is based on the amount of traction he also has for you. If you're trying to sell me the newest phone for $2,000, yeah, I look on Amazon and I see it's worth $1,000. Why in the hell would I buy it? There's just no point in doing so. Okay, so these things can also benefit you on this chart right here, okay? These things can also benefit you. This all puts you in a stronger negotiation position, we'll talk about that, than him. If you have these three things over him, along with the attraction I talked about, then you can almost make the guy do anything. So the number one thing is you're a higher number than him. In terms of sexual market value, your number is higher than his. And you could basically put him through the ringer statistically. So if you look at it from an evolutionary perspective, we are always trying to get something better, right? That's called a bargain. It's a deal. If you're a 6, sorry, not the other way around. If you're an 8 and he's a 6, he obviously has to step up his game, or you logically should not stay around. So if you're a higher number than him, in his eyes, not your eyes, in his eyes, because he's the buyer, he's the offerer, he is going to stick around. Another one is he doesn't have a lot of quality options. That doesn't mean he can't. There's a difference here, okay? That doesn't mean it's quality. If I'm only talking to you, but I know I could talk to other really, really great girls, high quality girls, that's one thing. But if you're I feel like the best I can get and I can't get much better, he is going to stick on you like stink on shit, okay? He is not going anywhere. And of course, lastly here, he feels he is really close to getting what he wants. Like I said, it's dangling that carrot in front of the guy. If you dangle this carrot in front of the guy, again, make it too hard, he's going to say, it's not worth it. Make it too easy, he's going to take it for granted. But if you hold it right in front of him, it's that effect where he's just going to keep going and go, I don't want to let go. It's like gambling. Like, I don't want to let go. I don't want to let go. I'm so close. I'm so close. I'm so close. And before he knows it, he's going crazy because he invested so much into you, and it just creates a downward spiral. So the number one thing, now we're actually getting into it, is you end things on your terms. And I don't mean this in terms of you're giving him the ultimatum and then walking. It could be in many different ways, because men constantly want power. They constantly want control. And this is due to status and resources. And again, if it's a lower value man, it's insecurity, it's validation, it's approval, it might be an insecurity. But if you're the one who ends the calls, I'm not saying play hard to get, I'm not saying be a cold bitch, but if you're the one who ends the calls, you're the one who matches his texting, or you're the first one to not respond, or you take a while to respond, and things like that, you're going to be very, 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 very powerful, or in a powerful position. Not only that, if you're the one who, if you guys are having a fight and you're the one who walks or says whatever, you have a lot of power. And the reason for this is when a guy has control, it's controlling the narrative also, if that makes sense. Like, I can come and go as, like, if I'm the one who ends it with you and I know I like you, I can come back. I feel like I have the invitation to come back, at least because I know you like me. If I just say, hey, I'm sorry, I made a mistake, you could take me back. And then that goes back to what I said when there's two types of access, right? So there's one access, like accessibility to somebody, where it's like, oh, I'm just going to do no contact, and I'm not going to talk to you for a week or a month, whatever, okay? That's one. Then there's the one where the guy knows, well, if I wanted to talk to you, I could. So when a woman actually doesn't react and she kind of has this, like, I just don't give a shit anymore piece mentality, it's gonna throw a guy for a loop. A guy's gonna be like, wait, what? Because then regret can kick in. Regret is only created when I feel like I made the wrong, or the person feels like they made the wrong choice. Okay? And if you're going to come back, or you're going to stick around, or this guy's going to text you and you're going to respond and yada, 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 even though you guys are separated, he knows he still has a link. The bridge isn't burnt, okay? So keep that in mind, ladies. Please, for the love of God, so many times, a lot of you wonder why you're in the position you're in. It's because you lower your standards to the point where you don't even realize it, and he's taking advantage of you, okay? And you wonder why you're in the situation you're in. And then you're talking to a guy for another 3 months, and you're wondering why he's not committing. It's because you're not cutting it off when you need to. You're not ending things on your terms. Okay, so there's several reasons why this concept works. I just kind of talked about it. You're taking the power away from the man, number one. Number two, he is going to have to invest more to pull back the curtain and see where he stands with you. Men in general, even high value men to an extent, we want validation. They just go about it differently. High value men go about it in terms of reciprocal investment. I do for you as you do for me. And of course, it's going to, goddamn cat. And it's going to, of course, escalate into something. But when it's low value man and you're playing the game correctly, he has to invest to pull back, or so he can get the opportunity to pull back the curtain to see where you stand. Your lack of reaction doesn't give him the feedback that he can go off of. Number three, what I said recently back here. If you just cut him off and you're not begging or talking about it, and you're just like, hey, whatever, dude, sure. And this guy actually does care, you're calling his bluff. Okay, so again, very important. And four, it's regret. He's going to have to think twice about his actions, because if you react, it shows him that he has the power to come back. But when you don't give a shit, when you don't give a flying F about what he does, you have a freedom of outcome. And now he doesn't know what to do. Again, very important concepts to understand, ladies. So, number two now is understanding value and negotiation. There are two very important concepts that women don't understand, and it's the reason they lose a lot of power to men. And it's whoever loves less wins. I know you all hear that, and I don't mean that in literally the phrase. It's just the one with the strongest negotiation power is the one who is willing to walk away and mean it if they do not get what they want. But so many women, they wonder why they can't F with the guy's mind, is because they condition the guy to believe, whether you know it or not, you condition the guy to believe that he has you. So for example, if he leaves or says, I don't want anything, but then he comes back and says, I miss you, I like what we had, and then you guys continue to talk, why would you put yourself in that situation? And then again, it's all negotiation. You're going to see what you're going to see here in a little bit. And then you wonder why you're in the situation you're in, because he just renegotiated something and it's in his terms now. Oh, well, I don't want a relationship, but we're still talking. Oh, good, I can get what I want. And it's going to hurt you more because you care more. You're outcome dependent. Women don't understand that. You have to walk away from something if you don't get it. And secondly, value and negotiation go hand in hand. You must hook a man first before negotiating anything. Otherwise, he will try to call your bluff. However, if he is hooked, you have more room to negotiate. So don't even worry about, I always tell women, like, when it comes to getting a guy to commit to you, get your 6 to 8 dates in. Build that attraction first, because attraction's like currency. The more you have, the more you could do. It's a facilitator. The more attraction you have, the more wiggle room you have with making a guy do things or jump through loops and things like that. You cannot negotiate anything if the guy does not give a fuck, because you guys are sitting across the table and he has nothing to lose. He's just there to see what he can gain, right? It's no different than if I was a car salesman You come on the lot, no, wanting a specific car, and you have to have this car, right? Well, now that I know that, I can up the price, and you ain't going anywhere because you need this car by tomorrow or whatever it is, for whatever reason. So keep that in mind. So, important negotiation concepts. You got to know these 4 things, ladies. All actions and compliance is a form of negotiation. So what I said, was it here? Yeah, right back here. If a guy, okay, so the analogy I always use here is if you are talking to a guy and you guys are hooking up, and then after you say, hey, I really like you, I want a relationship, and he says, I'm sorry, I like you too, I just don't want one. And then you're like, oh, okay. And then the next day you continue to hook up with him without even saying a word. He should assume that you're okay with being friends with benefits because of your compliance and your actions of doing what you're doing, continuing to hook up with him. After him saying no to a relationship, you must be okay with friends with benefits. Why? Because you're talking to him again. So you have to understand, ladies, when it comes to negotiation, every single thing you guys do and say is a term of negotiation. So when a guy says, I don't want a relationship, and then you pull away and then you come back, that's a form of negotiation. Like you're giving him that power and you don't even realize it. Number 2, if he pulls away, it's because staying around is telling you he's on the same page when he's not. And what I mean by this is women always wonder why a guy pulls away. I didn't pressure him though. I didn't do this. I didn't do that. I didn't bring up titles. I didn't talk about the future. I didn't say anything. Well, that's direct context, right? Meaning, if I tell you I like you, it's pretty direct. There's no other way to decipher it. However, indirect context is like the layering effect, like, us talking consistently, the amount of time we're talking, how the frequency, are we having sex? Are we texting a lot? How many dates have we been on? Like it transitions from, you just being some girl on Tinder to now we are talking consistently. And I feel that I either have to come to terms with this and say, okay, like no woman is going to let a man, play her or be friends with benefits with her month after month, 6 months to a year, whatever, and not expect anything from it. A man knows this, so he feels obligated to owe you something because of this. It comes at a cost now once the layering effect happens and it paints the picture of a relationship. Well, it feels like a relationship. I know she knows this. I know she really likes me. So if I keep on complying with this, telling her I'm on the same page when I might not be, and then guys freak out, get in their own heads and pull away. So you got to understand that's why men pull away. And if they do, you got to call a guy out on and tell him not to return and do not accept his return, his return if you're not on the same page. Number 3, if he does come back around, that means renegotiate. Every time a guy comes back around, it's a renegotiation. So do not just let him come back, cut in line and start where you left off. Do not do that. No. Okay? And of course, right here, never ever reach out after a failed negotiation, meaning if he comes back and you say, oh, hey, you must want a relationship because I told you never to reach back out unless you want a relationship. He's like, no, that's not what I want. Okay, that doesn't mean to keep on talking to him. You got to say, hey, well, I respect that, but I told you what I wanted and I feel that you're not respecting my, whatever. And then you cut it off and say, if you want a relationship, let me know. Otherwise, leave me alone. But that doesn't mean reach out after that. Oh, I miss him. Or I think I made a mistake. Or Elliot, I realize I really don't want a relationship. Or he's not the relationship type. Shut up. No, stop. I hate when women fucking say that. I hate it. Because liking a guy and wanting a relationship are two different things. If you like the guy, you're eventually going to want the relationship. That's just how women are, okay? So don't ever reach out or renegotiate anything if you had a failed negotiation. That's his job to do to you. So this also means you need to, in terms of negotiation, not hold on to any hope. You need to have a freedom of outcome. You need to be realistic, meaning what can you offer this guy versus what he can offer you, okay? Because if you don't know, he's going to take advantage of it. If he feels I can offer her more than she can offer me, right, then theoretically or logically, you would kind of be stuck on the guy, because if he's a high-value man that you really like and you're not talking to anybody else and he's painting this picture of a relationship, Why would you not stick to that? You would. A lot of women do. So you got to be really aware of that. 4 on here, are you guys on the same page? If you're not, you need to move on. Does he value the things that you offer? So many women come to me and say, well, I'm better looking than him, or I'm this, I that, I speak 12 languages. Like, who gives a shit? I mean, that's cool. I like a woman who speaks a lot of languages, but if that's not sexy to him, or women are like, well, I have an education. Again, that's a great thing, and I'd rather have a woman with an education than not. But that's not the deciding factor on if I'm going to date you. I give 2 shits. Well, it's not that I don't give 2 shits. You get what I'm saying. It's not a deciding factor. So women will come to me and say, well, I make more money than him. Again, who cares? No guy cares. Like, I don't sit down and think, oh, this woman's the one for me because she makes more money. No guy gives a shit. Okay? And if you want to know what matters, then check out my course, Attraction Academy. I talk about it in great detail there. And of course, what does he have to lose? If you're already acting like a girlfriend in terms of negotiation, if you're already acting like a girlfriend when you're not, why would he commit? He already has you. He already has everything he wants. What benefit will he get committing? In fact, he wouldn't get anything. It would be a liability because right now he can have his cake and eat it too. He has the best of both worlds. But if you commit, or if he commits, he loses half of that. He loses half of that. He can't talk to other women. But he's not gaining anything because he's already hooking up with you. So keep that in mind, ladies. And of course, 3 is understanding timing. Oh, for the love of God. Understanding timing and stop playing a reactionary game. So many women pull away only when a guy pulls away, and then and don't even realize it. They should be pulling away ahead of time. Okay, when they're done with his bullshit. On top of that, women, when you do pull away, it's either too early or too late, and or women never follow through and they always come back. For some reason, I don't know why, but you guys do. But I wanted to touch on this with a graph here. This is the last thing here, so deal with me. Okay, that circle up there with yes, that is when you should pull away. So this is his intensity. And a lot of women, of course, you see that green bar going up. Again, that's the intensity as in where you guys are going, how it's moving along, how much you're investing into each other, how long you've been talking, and things like that. If you try to play any games early, it's not really going to work because it's too early. He doesn't know what he's going to lose for one, and secondly, the attraction isn't built up enough, okay? When you want to do it is when it's very high. Again, in this quadrant right here where it says yes. But instead, what a lot of women do is when it's going down, then they start to pull away. And I'm like, nope, that is the wrong time. If you're pulling away when he's pulling away, congratulations, you're now a convenience. You're a convenient. Oh my God, thank God this girl's pulling away. She's not bothering me. She's not blowing up my phone. That's exactly what I wanted, hence why I'm pulling away. And then, of course, if you're all the way down here in this lower right quadrant, you missed the mark. So, ladies, if you're going to play this game, do it at the right time. I'm not saying you have to pull away, but when it comes to games, if you're doing it too late, it's just drama. Okay, it's all drama. You shouldn't be playing games. But anyway, I'm just making the video. If you do it too late, it loses its mark. Who gives a shit? He doesn't care. If you do it too early, again, he doesn't know what he's losing. He's probably talking to another woman, and he doesn't know what he's losing with you, so he just lets it go. But if you do it at the right time, it's very powerful, okay? So with that being said, ladies, there you go. If you haven't yet, please subscribe. Just click the red button below. Give me a like if you want to check out my course, Attraction Academy. Links down in the description. I love you all. Take care, and peace.